everyone to TechBees transformational series. TechBees we run every single Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. Nigerian time. So I'm Doja Ikeruche. You know me. I mean, I'm a marketing expert. I'm a business expert. I've done strategy for many years, and right now my focus, and of course with the Eco Innovation Center, is to commercialize and accelerate businesses. The fulcrum of this country will come from small and medium scale enterprises. And our drive is, or our dream, ambition, is where we see companies from Nigeria become multinationals like we know it. And sustainable companies, that's companies that sustain over years and decades, you know, and are able to make broad-based impact across all stakeholders. That is our ambition. And that's why we, Eco Innovation, invest so much behind TechBees, bringing thought leaders, bringing experienced, knowledgeable individuals to teach you the different dimensions of entrepreneurship. If you've been following TechBees, you know that we've been on for the last, we've had about 32, 33 odd episodes. So that means, you know, almost 35 hours of knowledge covering the broad-based spectrum of entrepreneurship, from leadership to business planning, to execution, to legal, intellectual property, data protection. I mean, we've gone through even raising capital, and raising capital is so critical. That's why we keep bringing it back, because it's a recurring subject that all our entire audience want to know a lot more about. So if you want more of the episodes of TechBees, and including this one as well, please go to ecoicenter.com/webinar. You see all of the webinars we've run in the last 8 months, and you're able to get those resource video and even the presentations as well that have been run. So today, attracting investment, Fisayo, I'm so looking forward to this, because we know that capital is the lifeblood of every business. We're either trying to raise capital or trying to manage our capital, but you know that that is one resource that you must never, ever run out of. And sometimes we feel, as local entrepreneurs, we feel like, you know, maybe we are at a disadvantage. We hear of these people raising 40 million US, 100 million US, and we're wondering, when is it going to be my turn? When can I, you know, get this as well? When will I blow? You know what I mean, right? And what do I need to prepare in order to have access to this? And where can I even go to access this? And I know those are the things that you're going to guide us with today. For housekeeping, Fisayo will take us through the next 25 to 30 minutes, his presentation, the information he has to share. And then the next 30 minutes, we're going to make it as interactive as possible. We will try as much as possible to go through the various questions that you had listed at the point of your registration. But as well, if you want to ask a verbal question, please raise your hand. We'll unmute you. And feel free already to put your questions in the chat box as Fisayo is speaking, so that we can keep taking all of those questions. I know that it's going to be very interesting, because today we're talking about money, right? Money talks. So let me give you all of the time to have the conversation, Fisayo. Over to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. So I'll just share my screen so that I can run through a structured presentation, if that works for everybody.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can. If you just put it on slideshow, please.
Yeah.
Perfect. Sharp.
All right.
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I mean, I think I should start by giving a shout out to every entrepreneur in the house, because I really think that you are the brave ones. You know, many people really want to be entrepreneurs, but of course, we see what people don't see. We see the work you're putting in. We see the effort you're trying to ensure that you build a sustainable business for yourselves, for your family, and of course for people generally, right? I think we understand the work you're putting in, and that's why a, a meeting like this is important to me as a person, and also to Echo Innovations, that we don't take your work for granted. So we're figuring a way to ensure that we support you as much as we can, right? So that's why I am here today. So again, we just run right into it to try and run through exactly what capital raising, and of course, how capital raising affects, your business, basically. I know you've seen a lot of, things around different stages of business, from idea stage, to the, I mean, they call it, value, value of debt or something. There's some data that shows that over 50% of businesses don't survive past their second year. Different damning data around business sustainability, in globally, and of course in Nigeria it's a lot more difficult because of course you have to provide power for yourself, you have to provide many things, for yourself as you think about building your business, right? So what I'm just showing here today is just to say, okay, this is how to a large extent businesses look through, right? And of course, the funding cycle or the funding type available to businesses is also, the type of funding or the type of investors that are also available to businesses is also dependent on the stage or the kind of business you're also running, right? So, for instance, when you have this bright idea, you want to build a job working app, you want to build a logistics business, you want to build a law firm, or you want to build a manufacturing concern. When you have that bright idea, to a large extent, the first set of investors you have to look out for are not necessarily institutional or early stage type investors. So we call them FFFs, so friends, family, and fools. So meaning that these are people that you probably have within your circle. These are the people that know you, your parents, your brothers, your family members, basically. That the ones that can support you at this early stage of your business. When you have this bright idea that you want to run, and this is because it's easier for these people to trust you because they've seen you, do things prior to today, right? So this is a stage we call pre-seed, where it's you don't have anything yet. You don't even have a seed in the ground yet. You just have this bright idea, and that's where it starts from. So it means that you just have concepts and ideas that you have, that you're able to use at that point, right? And then from there, once you raise from yourself, from your own savings, you put all of your money and effort into it. You build this business into something. Then there is some, uh, MVP. There's some prototype that you've developed based on the initial stage. Then you get to the seed stage where you're able to you can say you've put something concrete on the ground, meaning that you have a product that works. You have early signs of customers that can potentially use your product. You have one or two people paying for it, for the product. Those are that's the stage where it's okay. Yes, you're at the seed stage where you move from just being an idea to being something that people are willing and able to use. Then after that, you move to the Series A. Again, this is from the tech perspective, meaning that at this point, you don't just have product, or you don't just have some prototype or MVP. MVP is a minimum viable product, meaning that so for instance, you're trying to build a bank, right? Your MVP can be a savings product, for instance, where it's just savings that you're able to do. You don't have loans, you don't have investments, you don't have any other thing. So you have this minimum viable product that people are already using, and then you're able to build other things on top of that. Or you're trying to build, a manufacturing business, right? Or you've invested in a plant, you've done, something. You have a production line. Of course, to build a proper plant, you need like maybe 10 production lines, but you have one production line. That's a minimum viable product, for instance. So that's where you are, at that stage. So at Series A, so we call you have product market fit. Now, this is a very interesting thing, because sometimes what you have as an MVP might not be the perfect product, right? That your customers require, or that your customers need from you, right? So at the point where you have product market fit, that's where you say that you have a series, yeah, at the Series A level, where you're able to raise, some target. But of course, and then moving on, after having product market fit, there's some products that, even though yes, it fits into what the market wants, it's people are paying for it. Hundreds of people are already using the product, right? Uh, Now delivering the service at scale, is the next hurdle that you need to cross. I can hear some feedback. I think some people need their mic, right? So it's after getting your product market fit, it's talking about now using this product at scale, saying that you can deliver this product to 1 million people. You can deliver this product across Africa, right? You can deliver this product, globally. That's how it works at scale. Facebook is working at scale, right? You know, there are 6 billion people in the world. Over 2 billion people are using Facebook, right? Or Instagram, or some business like that. So that's what it means to deliver your product at scale. And then, of course, maturity, where you have multiple streams. Dangote is one of those that seem to be at that stage today. And then there are different investors that fit across all of these different stages. And then, of course, there are different templates around how much you raise, or what valuation you raise at those stages, right?
No, just a second, Sayo.
Yeah.
I cannot help but interrupt you on this one. So when you talk about the early stage and you say typically less than £1 million, right?
Yeah.
So here we're talking about 600 million naira,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll explain.
Okay, thank you. Because
Yes.
my eyes are popping at the zeros, and I'm wondering, show me the way, or me, I want to know the way.
Yes. So I mean, I'm using tradition for, because it's in more like global standards, even more mature markets actually, that use this kind of capital raising, right? Here in Nigeria, here in Africa, the typical raises are significantly smaller than this, right? And of course, the valuation expectations are also significantly smaller than this at those stages. So, what I would say for this type of skills across Africa. So at pre-seed, we hear numbers around $50,000, $100,000, right? So, $100,000 is probably where the amount typically lies. So that's around 36 million naira, some number around that, where people are comfortable, with money that they can lose to a large extent, especially where you can say, okay, for most entrepreneurs, it's their savings. You can have access to some of their savings. Some have 5 million naira in savings, 10 million naira in savings. You can use some of those, and then your parents have one house and after that they're using for rent, and then they give you 10 million naira rent. Some of those are kind of stages that we see here in Nigeria. So it's always less than $100,000 most times, maybe $20,000, depending on the kind of business you're trying to start, right? And that's how he graduates, from there. I hope I've verified that.
Very clear. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now there are different funding sources available at different stages, right? So I said, okay, there's an idea stage, there's a startup stage, there's an early stage, expansion stage, and maturity. This chart is similar to the previous chart, right? Only that I don't use Series A, Series B here. I used, just general word. So where you have this bright idea, what this chart, if you look at the lines across, is pulling up from somewhere. So there are different people, there are different investors that are willing to invest at different stages, right? It would be wrong for me at an idea stage to be looking for an IPO, right? That's an initial public offering. So to go to the NSC, to want to list, because it doesn't work like that, because it's just an idea. But NSC requires you to have at least 3 years of paying dividends. You don't have a business, so there's really no IPO for you at that point, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is that at different stages, there are different people, there are different investors that are willing and able to to support your risk at that time, right? So you have to figure out a way to ask yourself, at what stage am I, right? And which kind of investors do I need to look out for at these stages, right? So here at idea stage, there are accelerators that are incubators. Here in Nigeria, we have co-creation hub, CC hub, idea hub, different hubs. Even there are foreign accelerator programs that you can apply to Y Combinator, Techstars, private startups. At least for tech type, companies. There are crowdfunding platforms, that people use where you can present your ideas on a platform, and then people that believe that this idea can be viable, will put their money to back it. So those are, the ways you can get ideas, and of course, there are competitions you can attend. I know, uh, LSCTF, Eco Innovation, they have some of these competitions that they're able to, that people are able to win, some startup grants, that can use to the Lumenu Foundation, $5,000 grant that can use to start up your business. There are different, funding amounts. Investors that are willing to take risks at these early stages, and then of course, those kind of investors now shape differently, as you continue to build your business and you mature, right? So your job as an entrepreneur is not to come to, a private equity fund with an idea, for instance. They don't fund ideas, they fund existing businesses. You have to look for people that fund businesses at your stage. And then one thing I also like to mention here, as part of this thing, is that a lot of times, right, people look out for capital, but a lot of people, so I tell myself, there's something I love when I look at businesses. I love to see traction. No matter how small, traction means that some sign of life, you know, some sign that this thing can potentially blow. I mean, just using the word that we know. Like, I like to see early stage that someone is willing to pay for this thing. So if I can give you money, I want to be able to see that sign that this thing could potentially work. So I would encourage entrepreneurs that rather than start looking for money from idea stage, they should find a way to figure out, is there something I can do while I'm working that can show this early sign of 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 the kind of potential that this business could potentially have. So that's what I mean. So is there a way I can show early signs to anybody that is looking at my business in the future, say, okay, this is a business, this is the kind of business I will back, right? So again, I'll give an example. There's this business in the US. It's called WAG, WAG. What they do is they created an app to help you walk your dog. I mean, it sounded crazy to me. Like, this doesn't make sense. So imagine someone comes to me like, I have this bright idea. I want to create a dog walking app in Nigeria, in Yaba, in the Lupeju. People just walking their dogs and be making money. Of course, I'll say, no, this doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. But if the person shows me like, we started with little money that we have, 10,000 naira here, 5,000 naira here. We found 1,000 people already using it. Like, huh? Are you serious? Like 1,000 people. How much are they paying per month? They're paying 10,000 naira to walk their dog. I just like this. Those things are showing me that maybe I'm looking at these things in the wrong way. Right? Maybe I'm looking at this thing in a way. I should look at this thing in a different way from the way I'm looking at it. So traction helps me see that early sign rather than just come with the idea. I can shoot down the idea because nobody has proof that it can work. But if you show me just early signs of potential, then I'm able to say, okay, yeah, this is the business that I'm able to back. Uh, Now I have to really run. So let's cut to the chase about funding, right? One thing we noticed is the fact that people, this is in the US, so we can take a key from from the US to see how people have funded their business, up until now. Many things depend on you as a founder. So many of them fund their business from their personal savings and credit, right? I mean, in the US, that credit cards can use to fund their business at the beginning, right? Then, of course, next set of people use friends and family to start. The smaller set of people use venture capital, angel investors, bank, and then of course crowdfunding. This is how most businesses, even in the US, fund themselves. So I don't expect that Nigeria will be totally different. So a lot depends on you as a founder at the early stage of your business. Right. So like I said, this is about funding and investments, right? So what I really want to do with this slide is to show you what investors look out for, you know, when they are thinking about investing in your business, right? One critical thing To a large extent, most of us, when we are making a bet on a company, we are saying that this is the best person that will build this business. So I'll give an example. Let's say I have this bright idea. I want to start a bank. Just today, I want to start a bank, right? And another person that has worked at GT Bank, that has worked at Zenith Bank, that has worked at Providus, that has done international banking, wants to start a bank at the same time. And we came to you like, okay, I need money. I want to start my bank because I have this bright idea. I think bank is the next big thing. This guy has been working in the industry for years. And he also thinks that banking is the next big thing, right? If I'm asking you a question, who would you fund between the two of us? It's probably going to be the guy that has experience in the industry because he knows what to do, rather than me that I've probably just thought about this idea in my room that back in Delhi, those kind of things. So it's not about that. It's about the team. I think this team, the founder, the co-founders, or the people behind this business are the best people to run this business. Do they have the technical skills? Do they have the relationships? Do they have the the know-how, the ability to run this business from start to finish, right? That's the kind of way I'm backing. Then of course, next thing I look out for is your product, right? Do I think this is a technology just for technology's sake? So for instance, someone saying that job working app, yeah, I think it's a product for product sake or an app that would help you, I don't know, do something, right? There's some products that yes, it's great to have. There's some things that they are nice to have, right? So I just want to ask you, is this a painkiller or a multivitamin? And I'll explain what I mean. Have you ever had this headache before? Just strong headache, right? At that point, you need something to stop it. So what you're building, is it a painkiller because it's a need, or is it a want? Like multivitamin. I don't know how many of us are taking multivitamins, in the last 1 year. But some of us, traffic in Lagos alone gives us backache. We take painkillers every day. So again, this is the kind of question I was asking for. Do the people you are servicing, do they need this product? Can they do without it? If they can do without it, what other alternatives do they have? All of that. So these are the kind of things I look out for here. Then look at your TAM. That's a total addressable market. How large is this opportunity? Is this something that can make me a 1 billion naira? It's something that can make me only 200 million naira? Is something that can be, how large? Is this something that can be used by 10 million people or by only, 500 people? Again, these are questions I'll ask myself before I invest. Trenches, this means defensibility. How defensible is your business? If I give you money today and someone, let's say you're saying you want to start a let's say a ride hailing company, for instance. If I give you money today and Uber pumps more money, can they just use money to wash you out? These are questions that I'm going to ask. Of course, traction, I've explained that before. Early signs of life, early signs of growth that this business will potentially have. And of course, timing. I don't think we can overemphasize this. I mean, I have an argument that e-commerce in Nigeria failed at the point because of wrong timing. By the time Konga Jumia came to Nigeria the first time, payment has not been solved. There was no pay stack, there was no interest rate. I mean, there was interest rate, but payment was not readily available. Card payment was not readily available. Logistics was not solved, right? People can't. Right now, we have bikes, rolling up the street here in Lagos. It means delivery infrastructure has been built. But prior to that, Konga, Jumia, all of those people have to build all of these things themselves, right? So I think they came in at the wrong time. At least the 8 years ago when they started. And of course, returns. No investor gives you money just because they like you, or no investor gives you money just because they like your face. They want returns, right? So it means that all of these things come into play when talking about what we look out for before we invest. And then quickly, one thing I've noticed and I'd like you to say after me, I mean, you might not be able to mute your mic. I am not my business. My business is a separate legal entity from me. I think every entrepreneur should know this because one thing we've noticed is that a lot of times the personality of the founder, of the owner of the business, shows itself in the way the business operated, right? So you should separate your money, the money of the business, from your money. If you understand what I'm saying, right? So I treat my business as a different legal entity from me. My money is my money. My business's money is her money. I don't commingle my money with my business's money. I keep records of my business transaction and I account for every penny that my business spends. So help me God. I mean, I'm saying this because it's important. If I am an investor looking at your business, I won't look, if it's okay, send me your account statement. I used some of my personal account to receive some money. You know, I would assume you're not a serious somebody, right? Because there's no, if you can't separate yourself, your finances from business finances, then there's no point investing in you in the first place. And of course, around valuation. Valuation is always a tricky, you know, a tricky conversation. People have argued, is evaluation an art or science? For instance, is there a mechanical way to arrive at evaluation for your business, right? And I mean, that's why I just let me give you an example of some, you know, early stage type valuation things that we've seen. On the screen is there like 5 accelerator or type investors that have standard investment. They have standard investment, investment templates that they use for their businesses. So Y Combinator, suggests that they value your business at the time you're getting into the accelerator at 2.1 million post-money valuation. Texas says that it's 1.6 million. Having startup says it's 2.5 million. Microtraction, which is a Nigerian investor, says it's 360,000 naira. I mean, $360,000. Sorry, right? Catapult Accelerator says it's $1.8 million, right? So there are different ways that people think about valuation, and that's there are different ways that people think about valuation, and the same way that's why it is. So it's more about art and it's not science, right? But one thing I know for sure is that your startup is worth whatever you and your investor agree it is worth. So this is where we start from, right? Your startup is what you and your investors. I'm mindful of time. I'll run through the journey quickly so I can address your specific question, right? Your startup is worth whatever you and your investor agree it is worth, right? So that's where it starts from. So your job is to figure out exactly how do I think about valuing my startup, and this is how I think about it. For almost every stage, right? There is a target dilution of, let's say, target no more than 15 to 20%, 25% dilution at every stage. Yeah, sometimes maybe up 30%, but for you, just think about it from that perspective. So look at this chart below. At the beginning, you own 100% of the business, right? Then you raise, and the valuation is $250,000. You own 100% of it. The investors came in, the value at 700K, but you lost, but you gave away 30% of the business. You still own 70%. Something of the business is worth much more than 70% of a $700,000 business is worth more than 100% of a $200,000 business, right? By the time you get to $3.6 billion valuation, you own 34%. 34% of a $3.6 billion valuation is more than 70% of a $700,000 valuation. So that's how as founders, we should see, capital raising and of course dilution and investment. But one thing has to be clear, right? So that at the point where the business becomes mature, you're not left with nothing in your business. You have to be careful about dilution. So start thinking around, okay, how much dilution would I take? How much capital do I really need, at this point? So do I need $1 million? Would I use it? What can $1 million get me in terms of valuation? If I collect this $1 million today and give away 15% of my business, is the amount of value I'm able to create, will it be much more than that $1 million that I just collected, right? So those are questions that we have to ask ourselves as entrepreneurs. And of course, legal issues, right? I mean, when I read legal documents, this is what I see every time. Every time I read legal documents, it doesn't make sense to me. That's why it's important to have lawyers at the table that have your interest at heart. Right? I can give you valuation of $10 million and I can take it back with the legal document I will ask you to sign. I mean, in Nigeria, we've seen different types of investors asking for different types of things from their entrepreneurs. So I heard of a story of an angel investor that asking, the founder, to sign a contract that he will resign and hand over the company to his son, right? These are things that we see. If you don't read legal documents, you will not be able to tell yourself, no, I can't take this money on these terms. I can't take this money at these terms. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's important that you have someone whose job is to read through every line of the agreement you're about to sign and ensure that yes, you're signing what works you know best for you. And this is the final part. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs don't like this part of the business. Even I hate operations as well. But of course, it's an important part of every business that you're running, right? We say we want to raise money from investors. And like I said before, your business is not you. So you have to keep records, right? There are tax issues to handle for your company. There's payee taxes, there are withholding taxes, there are valid taxes, company income taxes, consumption taxes, depending on where you're running, right? There's some taxes that apply, there's some taxes that don't apply. So you have to figure out exactly how to ensure that you meet all of these things. Because for most investors, if you don't meet all of these core requirements, right, you probably won't be able to raise from them. You have to audit your account. You have to file your quarterly returns. You have to file your annual returns. You have to pay pensions. These are regulatory things that your business needs to a large extent need to do. And of course, like I said, your business is not you. So it means that you have to register a business in the first place, right? Register a business, have a separate account that that the money for the business goes to. Have a separate account that the expenditure from your account goes to, so they can keep records of everything that happens in your business. And of course, back to this point, seek professional help to ensure that yes, all of your financial reporting are properly done. So I was talking to an entrepreneur that has I I know the business. So I asked her, send me your account. So she did. She sent me her account. Uh, and then I saw the revenue, I saw the cost of goods sold. I saw that the cost of goods sold was higher than the revenue. I was like, and I called her like, hello, from your account, what I'm seeing is that you bought something for 100 naira, you are selling it for 60 naira. Why? She now said that's not possible. That that they make profit on every sale. I said, well, your account is telling me something different. Then she called the accountant. That what's the problem? Why is my account showing that I am making less than I pay? Then the accountant said that no, they calculated the inventory that they've not sold as part of their cost of goods sold. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. And that's telling me that no, that's not how to account for inventory that you have in your balance sheet. I mean, this is technical jargon, but I don't have to go into it. But the point is that you have to get people that knows how to help you prepare your account and help to do it well for you. So the summary of the whole matter is this, right? First is that your business is separate from you. Second is that an investor will only invest in your business if he thinks that he's going to make some returns, from this investment he's making, either at any stage. So even if it's a friend and family, he thinks that your business is going to be great and it's going to make money. Even if it's at Series A or Series B or Series D, he thinks that he's going to make some money from the business. That's why he's investing at that time. So you, as an entrepreneur, should know that nobody has free money to just give you because they are free. If you're taking money from someone, know that there is responsibility that comes with the money you're taking. And I think it's important that we also mention that as part of this thing. Of course, valuation. The valuation is based on what you and your investors agree. But of course, the devil is in the details. Read legal documents, ensure that you're not signing something that enslaves you for the rest of your life. Ensure that the valuation is what you're used to and it is what you're comfortable with. Like I said, target dilution 15, 20%, maybe 25% is permissible. But I mean, I would advise anything much more than that at every round of investment. So, and I think that the summary of the matter is that yes, get professional advice where you need one. Thank you. I'm able to take questions now.
Thank you so much, Fisayo. Thank you. That was, you had so much to deliver to us in such a short time. So thank you so much. I like what you say, that is your product a painkiller or a multivitamin? Yep. But I tell you, in these days of COVID, multivitamins have become they have become real, in demand. you have no choice. Like for instance, for me, I must take vitamin C, zinc, and D. You know, because they say those are those are the builders of your immunity. Oh my, you know. But anyway, I think it's important because you're saying, is our product really solving a customer's problem today? You know, and that is extremely critical, because if it is a nice to have, if I can do without it, why will I pay for it? And that becomes, you know, a critical question. I want to already start to take the questions that, you know, had come initially into the, you know, at the point of registration. People on the call, please feel free, post your questions in the chat box, or raise your hand, and then we just unmute you and you can ask your question directly. By the way, you know, I was listening to a podcast, and it was talking about, you know, the 6 critical things that either investors look for, or, you know, people who buy the business. And one of the things was about, exactly, you know, thank you for this slide. One of the things was also about processes, right? Have you built in processes into your company, you know, taking into consideration, of course, customer experience, but processes like SOPs, you know, like, you know, policy manuals, those kinds of things that guide the operations of your business. You know, sometimes we look at it and say, I beg, that's Turenshi. But those are the fundamentals of you know, business building, and the ones that investors look for. Would you agree with that?
Of course, I think it's critical to ensure that yes, we have standard operation procedures. I mean, I was telling someone that you don't have to do you don't only have to do the right things, you have to do things right? And I think that's the bedrock, right? Everybody can have a great idea, but you have to have the discipline that's required, you know, to ensure that that you know you stick into adhere rules, stick and adhere to rules and operation procedures that guide your business to ensure that yes, even when you're not physically present, the business is able to run on autopilot with or without you. It's about creating systems and structures, you know, around your business operation. How to be sure that yes, the business is not you. You know, it's that thing about separating yourself from the business. The business is not you. If you're not there, you don't resume in the office today. You have to be sure that yes, your staff know what to do, right? And they're able to adhere to all of those things. I'll back a company that I think I've thought through some of those structural, you know, operational systems, rather than the ones that said, you can't do anything until the MD comes to, until chairman shows up, you can't pay salary, we can't pay supplier until and Baba has traveled to the US or to anywhere to the Maldives, you know, to enjoy his life. But everything that business will stop because it's not physically present. No, I won't support that kind of thing.
So you know, we're talking about attracting investors, right? And the questions that people have asked already is, how do I know when I'm ready to get investors? And you know, as well, how do I, if my business is still young, how can I attract investors at that stage?
Yeah, yeah. So I think that this question around
readiness,
right, is critical because at some point you ask yourself. So I was talking to an entrepreneur before I got on this call. I was like, Sire, I need money. I have so much order that I can't fulfill. Right? I'm turning back orders so that I ensure that I'm able to deliver on value to the clients that I already have. If I took on this order that wants to give me this number of goods per month, I won't be able to deliver on my promise of quality to my other clients. So I have to ensure that I take only businesses that I'm able to handle at this stage. If I have only this amount of money, I'll use it this way, that way, and I'm able to analyze all opportunities around me. So that's that time you know yourself that yes, at this point, the capacity, the demand that I have, you know, is much more than the supply. So, for instance, take for example a school, right? You start your school in a 4-bedroom flat, right? In nursery school. You started with 2 children, of course, you need a bigger space. But once your students start approaching 20, 30, 50, they start asking yourself that, okay, is it time to move to a bigger location? Is it time to move to buy a larger place or to rent a different place, right? These are times that you have to ask yourself, okay, at this point, I need external funding to come in. Maybe in the form of a loan or grant or equity investment or anything to ensure that I'm able to capture more value. You don't want your parents to come to your school and say that, okay, this class is overcrowded, right? Or this place is not neat enough. And so at that point, you know to yourself that, hey, I'm ready to get external funding because the opportunity that I am leaving on the table, because I'm not prepared for, is much more than the cost of having invested. I think that's the analysis that every person needs to make for themselves. I mean, every entrepreneur needs to make for themselves.
So we're talking about when it's time for growth, right? When growth has started to come and you need to expand, and you seemingly have higher demand than you can supply, then it's definitely time for investment. Emmanuel is asking in the chat box. He says, "Thank you for the great presentation, Fisayo. Please, how do I get information on small companies that need investors?"
Small companies that need investors.
Correct.
So I'll assume that Emmanuel is an investor.
Most likely he's an investor. So now the question is, where does he find those companies that are hungry and ready for investment?
Yes, so I think a lot of times, right? So the way Nigeria works, right? It's a difficult mix between investor and founder, right? There are more founders than investors available, right? But the problem is that I think it is the founders that have struggles finding the right investors for themselves. So for you, what you need to do is just to announce somewhere like, I have money, you see founders show up. I don't mean that literally. I'm just saying that create a platform for yourself, create a website, a LinkedIn page that describes the kind of entrepreneurs you want. Put an email out, and you see what's it called? You see founders looking for you, because a lot of it is that the capital available for entrepreneurs is far too small than the number of entrepreneurs that we have in this country.
But why is that? Why is that the situation locally vis-a-vis what is available in the first world in particular? And you know, like the chart you showed, 1 million pounds, even at the early stage. My goodness, So why is it like that for us?
I think that it's a question of maturing ecosystems, right? So I mean, it starts for them like this as well, right? So they have to evolve, mature, and when people start making money from investing, right, then it encourages more people to invest. But here in Nigeria, we've not seen any startup millionaire yet. We've not seen any startup millionaires yet, right? Until that starts happening, and then people like, oh, okay. And then some of these startup millionaires or startup billionaires start investing in other people, right? That's how it happens. I mean, we talk about the PayPal mafia, what's it called? Elon Musk, the founder of Twitter. Different people, right? At different stages, they sold their businesses, they got money, and they have to use that money to invest in other things. The founder of LinkedIn, Horowitz is now a VC investor himself, right? So I'm saying that until we start seeing some of these early stage companies grow to maturity, grow into IPOs, then the founders become rich themselves. They're able to support and mentor and build other businesses. Until that starts happening, I think our ecosystem is still maturing. Besides seeing early signs of growth or of maturity, but we still have a long way to go.
So we hope that maturity accelerates. Christopher wants to ask a question. Christopher, I've asked you to unmute your mic. Please do so.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Clearly. Hi, Christopher. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
So basically, I have a question about the FFF stage, right? The friends, family, and full stage, right? I mean, so imagine apps like PiggyVest that help you invest in agriculture, right? Imagine things like that didn't exist. But we obviously already have agricultural markets, and there's like the potential that that's going to be something people will want to get involved in, right? Now let's also imagine you can easily get involved in whatever business you want to do, like you would with agriculture. With agriculture, you can start with as little as 1 million or someone else's farm or something, for example, right? And then you build the app and then you can push it. But what about other markets that are already established but don't have apps for them, but you can go into it with like very little money, right? And you obviously can't get that kind of funding from friends and family and the rest. And there's also the problem of getting data, right? It's hard to say, oh, this is how much corn Nigerians are buying every day. And it'll be like the right data, 100% correct, right? Because you, of course, need to be able to show those things to investors.
Yeah.
So basically, the question is, if there's an already existing market and then there's no app or technology inclined solution towards it, how easy is it to get funding at that very, very early stage?
Okay. I mean, so I think one thing has to be clear, right? Everything doesn't have to that everything doesn't have to have an app for it, right? That has to be very clear from the beginning. However, when it comes to early stage investing, one thing, and even for every form of investing anyway, one critical thing that investors look out for is you, right? So they're telling me that there's this opportunity, but you can't explain it, but it's just there. There's no way, right, for me as an investor that don't know about this industry will put my money behind you, right? And I think that's the critical thing that every entrepreneur needs to know. So it's like I tell people that if I know about your industry more than you, me as an investor, if I know about your industry more than you, I probably won't invest in you. I need to be able to teach me about your industry. I might have read about it. I'll bring all my McKinsey knowledge, all my books I've read, and tell me, okay, calm down. That's not how it happens on the street. That's kind of entrepreneur I want to hear. That's kind of entrepreneurs I want to see, right? That I understand, that I know that this one knows this business from start to finish. And if I give him my money, he's going to figure it out and build a solid business out of this thing. And that's what every entrepreneur, that's what every investor wants in a founder. So that ability to say, yes, this is the opportunity I'm going after. This is what we have. These are the restrictions that we have. These are the things we can't see. These are the things we can't control, right? You talk about the data problem. These are the things we can't control. But these are the things we know. And based on the things we know, we are able to do this, this, and return this, right? That's what I want to see in every entrepreneur. So it's what it is. And of course, if you look at this chart, almost every business starts with the founder's own personal savings. It's like someone telling me that there's this big opportunity to come and invest. You're going to make so much money. I'll ask you, how much of your own money have you put inside it? Are you inside it as in, if you have nothing to lose, if this business goes out, then there's no point, I won't back you. But if I know that this person doesn't have savings again, if he doesn't make a success of this business, it is not. I know that this founder will do everything in his power to ensure that he makes a success out of it. He might still fail, no doubt, right? But I know that it's not going to be lack of effort. If you understand, it won't be because the founder lacks an effort, rather than it's just some forces work against him. And that's the kind of things that every investor needs to see behind every entrepreneur that they are backing.
Okay, thanks, Bisayo. I completely agree with you. You're talking about the expertise of the founder within the industry of operation. It's that expertise that investors, of course, are looking for, and that's what's going to build, their own confidence. Then yes, indeed. Data is available all over in this country. It's just that it's not collated, is not cleansed, is not distilled to be able to bring insight. However, you can still find data with the Office of Statistics. You can find quite a bit online, maybe not necessarily the most validated ones. And also, I mean, by yourself, you can go to you can do some research, dipstick with farmers, with people within the industry, especially with the industry groups. You can find a way to bring some research to bear. But you definitely need information to be able to build that confidence for the investor to drop their own money. I mean, imagine it's your own money as well. Let's even say it's your pension, your gratuity. Somebody now comes and says, I have this great idea, like Fisayo is saying, will you drop that money? So as it applies to you, it applies to your investor as well. Yeah. We do everything that we need to do in order to build that confidence that helps them be more motivated to drop that money, especially when it's your family. It's family heritage that you're impacting. So so think well and think deep. Fisayo Hussein has a question. So he says it's a great presentation. For a financial services firm with 10K% growth, I'm not sure what that means. I thought it was 10% growth, but let's say maybe 10K% growth in 6 months. How can they raise equity to be held by a custodian for licensing purposes only? Also, what will drive the valuation considering the equity is safe?
The equity is safe. Oh, okay. Right. Okay, I understand that now.
Thank you.
So you have a financial services business, which is highly regulated, but you've been building the business on the side under the radar of regulators. So now you want to get a license, and you only need money for the license approval. So let's say you want to get a microfinance bank license, and the capital requirement for the kind of license you want is $100 million. I mean, 100 million naira. I like dollars. Why?
It's good.
It's 100 million naira, and you want to just raise the 100 million naira and put in a trustee account or in a custodial account, so that you use the 100 million to just get your license and you're able to run your business that way. But again, I'll look at this from the investor's perspective. If I have 20 million naira lying down somewhere, right, and I ask me to invest that 20 million naira in your business, right, again, I'll look for return. So there are two ways to think about it. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to get the money, doesn't have to be an equity into the business, since you don't need the cash to run your business. You just need the cash to get your license, right? And you're not touching it afterwards. But the investor will say, okay, no problem. I'll give you this 20 million naira. I will earn some interest on top of it. It means that the investor asks myself, if I put this money in treasury bills, in government bonds, I'll earn 10%. That is risk-free, totally risk-free, right? For you, because I'm making this investment on your behalf, no problem. I'll earn 15%, I'll earn 20% on top of that. And that's what your business has to pay for the benefit of having that money. It's about what's called cost of capital. Cost of capital is key. And that's what it is to the investor. So even if the equity is not costing you anything, it's costing the investor the fact that he's putting the money somewhere and he's not able to have access to that money anytime or every time he needs. So it costs the investor. So there's always some returns that the investor will require, to have, just because of that cost from their own perspective, right? So that's what it is. So what you can raise, you cannot have to raise an equity that will dilute your own holdings. You can raise some exotic product, some debt type thing, and then you're able to fund the debt by the operation of your business. So that's how to do it. Or alternatively, you might not even have to raise money at all. Because at this point, you can just partner with a regulated entity to ensure that you're able to use their license to operate your business as well, so that you have this regulatory cover by an already licensed operator. There are different ways to think about it. I'm sure we can talk about that subsequently if you're fine with that.
Fisayo, I want to ask you about legal issues, right? And that's a big fear for entrepreneurs, for founders, right? And people have seen other, investors come to take over, businesses that you have labored on right from the beginning, right? So the terms and also the legal framework. How do I still protect my own business, my own stake in there, while I'm attracting investors of different grades?
yes, I mean this is a very big issue that you can't just gloss over. There's no way to gloss over this issue because if you sign any agreement, it is legally binding on you. So it means that you have to a large extent, sit down and play out every scenario. If the investor says that I'll give you this amount, but you have to make this amount to qualify for the next tranche, and you are confident in yourself that no, to make 10 million naira to get the next amount, what if something happens? What if the pandemic happens? A lot of businesses that had done projection last year could not make their projection because by March, there was lockdown. Everything was done. So you have to play that scenario in your head. Assuming this thing doesn't happen, am I able to live with the consequences, you know, of what this legal agreement says that will be the consequence of my action or of my inaction, even if it is not my fault, right? What if you put some clause there around force majeure to say in case something happens that nobody can control, fire, earthquake, anything, because all of these things are critical things that you can't ignore and overlook. And once you put pen to paper, I tell people when I try to negotiate an investment, I try to negotiate in good faith, right? But when I try to negotiate an investment, it's like it feels to me like getting married, right? It's like I love this, I love my wife so much, but come, let's sign this agreement in case we want to break up. This is how we are going to split everything we own. This is a difficult conversation to have. But I said, no, but say you love me. Yes, I love you, but come, let's sign this agreement. That's how investment works. So you have to be ready to have that difficult conversation around this is how your investment in our business is going to be treated. This is how you as an investor will be treated. This is how me as a founder will be treated. And we put everything and properly documented. Get professionals that will look through, that have your interest at heart, that will tell you the implication of every word, of every line, of every clause. It's important because you can't gloss over it at all. And that's how to ensure that, yes, everybody in the system is protected. Don't forget that the investor is dropping money. The money to cost them a lot. If it's dropping $1 million, 500,000 naira, anything, it costs them a lot to put that money behind you. So everybody needs to be protected. So we have to ensure that yes, we do this within a framework that works for not just you as a founder, but also the investor. So that everybody's protected and everybody gets what they bargain for. But for you as an investor, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you have to definitely play all of the scenarios in your head, ensure that you can live with the consequences of this you're signing, right? And then you go ahead with that.
So we're going to take the last question. I think it's one important question. It's been recurring and it's even in the list. And Oluwaseyi asks this again. Please give examples of online sources, websites, organizations that help businesses to connect with the right set of investors.
Okay. So like I said, here, sorry. Right. So these are so again, it's difficult because it's dependent on the kind of business that you're running. There's some investors that only invest in agriculture. So for instance, there's Sahel Capital that only invests in agriculture here in Nigeria. There's some VCs that invest only in technology and technology-enabled type businesses. EcoVC is one, Partech, Singularity, what's it called? Maya, Ingressive Capital, TL Palm by the former Minister of Communication. They're different. So it depends on the kind. Microtraction here is a Nigerian type investor as well. So it depends on the kind of business you're running. That's how you're able to curate the kind of investors that could potentially happen. But of course, there are different types. There are different advisors that can help, to link you with investors that are available. There's Baobab Network. There are different people, right? There is Acumen, right? Different people invest in different things. There are people that even invest in impact only, right? Impact type funds, right? So there are different things. So it's difficult to say that this is where to go to because there's no one size fit all, type list for everybody. So just be able to distill to figure out which one works for you.
Okay, so Christopher also made a list in the chat box, angel.co, producthunt.com, mostly tech related. So I think, yes, exactly. I think there are quite a number of people on the call as well who are in mainstream business, not necessarily tech. Because even someone had asked earlier about publishing. How do I get investors for publishing? Would mainstream banks, will they actually invest in businesses?
Banks.
Yes, banks.
Yeah, I think there's some civil regulations that limit, the kind of investment that banks can make, equity investment that banks can make in businesses, because they found out that, prior to the financial crisis, then the banks were converting on loans to equity, so that there are different things. So civil has limited, how banks can operate in the equity space. In the thing. So the best that they are willing and able to do is give loans. But of course, giving loans in Nigeria, you have to have some collateral, sometimes cashback, type thing. Right?
And the cost of the loan is quite significant. Sometimes you're talking over 20%. That's out of this world. But Bank of Industry is there as well. Bank of Industry, I understand, gives about 10%. So, well, I mean, that's also an opportunity. I think the key thing sometimes is in our minds, we even block it and think, I won't get it. But the main part out of it is even try. You have to try. You have to put yourself out there. The different options that are on the screen right now, even from Y Combinator to the micro traction, we have to try, especially if we know that we are investment ready. With the 7 criteria that Fisayo had highlighted earlier, you check yourself vis-a-vis those criteria. If you are ready for that, by all means, go out there. The terms continue to be extremely critical. It's a difficult conversation to have in the beginning, even if you are taking the FFF.
Yeah.
You need to have very clear terms upon which this investment is being taken. And the term sheet, please, share with experts. Don't use a real estate lawyer to do your
very
investment
Don't use oil and gas lawyer for investment. It's very important because they don't know what to look out for. They don't know what the pitfalls are. They don't know where the lines. They just liquidation preference. They just put some words there. You won't know what it, because it's not their critical things. It's not what they do on a daily basis. It's not production sharing contracts. So I think it's important you get lawyers that fit into that are corporate lawyers that focus on businesses. Even most corporate lawyers can advise on tech investments, because there are some terms that we imported from the US just for technology type business. So that's where the standards came from. So you have to know the lawyers to use and even advisors to use for your investment activities in all. And it's important we use the right set of professionals.
Thank you. I just want to highlight Adetiloye's feedback. For the person who asked, for Christopher, you asked about agriculture earlier, and Adetiloye says we are a cold chain logistics service that helps connect smallholder farmers with urban markets in major cities in the country, and he has his phone number there. So in the event that you would like to take advantage of that, by all means, please do so. Fisayo, is there something that we needed to know, or we need to know on this subject that we have not talked about?
Something. Yeah, to a large extent. I think it's just the summary of the whole matter for me, and I think we can't overemphasize that you and the entrepreneurs you as an entrepreneur and investors that you're having, to a large extent, are working towards the same goal. So there is you as an entrepreneur, there is the investor, and of course there is the company. So there are 3 people to a large extent in every transaction. You have to ensure that everybody's interest is protected. Yours as the founder or as the director, as CEO, the interest of your business, ensure that yes, your business continues to grow. So it means you won't stand in the way of your business, right? So if your business needs capital, you're sure that the business gets capital that it requires, right? If the business needs a new manager, ensure that the business gets the manager that it requires. if the business needs set of investors, ensure that the business gets the investors that so nobody's standing in the way to investors. And of course, as investors, you have to ensure that yes, everybody's interest is also covered. The investor wants to get returns. That's the primary, this basic economics I've learned. The reward for capital is profit, or something. I can't remember exactly how it works. But if I'm making investments in your business, right, there is a return I'm expecting, and that's the interest of the investor, and everybody's interest is protected as we continue to establish our business.
Excellent, great. Thank you very much. Christopher, your last question is, does EIC organize hackathons for businesses to display their products to potential investors? The answer to that is yes, we're about to start. We've started TechBiz Investors, which is a platform that draws out from the TechBiz platform. And then we showcase entrepreneurs to investors. That's about to start. It hasn't started yet, but I'd encourage you to join TechBiz Nation if you have not. Elvis, please put in the link into the chat box because when we move into TechBiz Investors, the feed will be from TechBiz Nation. So please feel free to join. Now, thank you very much, Fisayo. I would like to say as parting words that there are two critical things, and yes, I'm simplifying it, but two critical things that will grow your business. You got to figure out what you want to do. So make all the plans and figure out what you want to do and simply just do it. We keep learning a lot on the platform, and today Fisayo has dropped us some real value nuggets. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate you. We appreciate everyone who has contributed. We appreciate your contributions, as well. The most important thing, guys, is please take action. That's the difference between the one who succeeds and, the other side. You need to take action. Fisayo also highlighted previously to say, and sometimes, yes, challenges will come. And yes, sometimes it may not even work. But are you willing to get up and try it again? That's the question. Of course, with the right knowledge, with the right fuel, with the right investment, are you willing to get up and try it again? Daniel, because you posted this quickly before I wrapped up, I'm going to take it. Is it good to give advisory shares to accelerators without collecting money?
I mean, it's about value, right? So it's not all about cash. If you think that, there's some relationships that you have that is probably worth much more than cash investment in your business. We have to be able to ensure that yes, this advice is not just generic. It's not like do this, we do it that way. It translates specifically, to some growth for you, your business. So if someone says that, okay, I have relationship with suppliers that will ensure that they're able to give you their product on credit, it means that you won't have to use money to buy the initial product. You can collect the product on credit, sell, and then return. That's not just advice. That is value that they've created for you, and that will be worth something. So you ask yourself, how much is that worth, right? Someone says that I'm able to link you to new markets, open new markets in Ethiopia for you. Ethiopia has 100 million people. Like I need to sell from, and concrete steps are taken to ensure that yes, your product gets to those places. How do you value that, right? So for me, I think just that little thing. How do you value advice? So that's where the question is. It's not about whether it is right or wrong to give advisory shares, but how do you value it? And for you to value it, it means that you have to have some concrete things that you're measuring. It's either it gives you access to something, it gives you more revenue, it reduces your cost, it opens new markets for you, opens new suppliers to you, opens new channels to you, something that you can use and say, okay, this is what I enjoy from this relationship, outside of just the cash that you can give me.
And it could be expertise as well. It could be network, it could be connections that it brings for you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Fisayo. Thank you everyone for your contributions, for participation. And I'm appreciating you already because I know that you're going to take action. Oluwaseyi, you said that you have started working on it, or well, you have to start working on it. So help you God. We appreciate you, Fisayo. We appreciate you, everyone. Please stay safe. Still very important. Be well, and don't forget, please take action. Have a lovely evening.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.